甘い。やっぱりサビトは反応が正確で速い。中途半端な攻撃じゃ弾かれてしまう。かまど炭治郎、あのどうしようもなく弱かったお前が剣士となるため呼吸を身につけた。幾千幾万と刀を打ち込み、腕が悲鳴を上げてもなお刀を振り続けた。俺に何度倒されても立ち上がり挑み続けてきた。お前は強くなった。今俺に真剣を握らせていることが何よりの証。今宵こそ仕上げの時。未だ奥底に眠る覚悟を奮い立たせろ。技を感覚を研ぎ澄ませろ。来い。
Sorry to make you wait. Hope you're at peace. Special beam card!
Ayo with the mail. Pay like Van Gogh, pay like Van Gogh, pay like Van Gogh. What they mad for? What they mad for? What they mad for? What y'all getting stashed on? All that gas hoe, all that gas hoe. Hella packs full, hella packs full. Bitch, I got these packs full. Pay like Van Gogh, pay like Van Gogh, pay like Van Gogh. Bitch, I pay like Van Gogh. All they mad, hold up, be like Ted, hold up, be ashamed, hold up, ain't no game, hold up.
Alright, so look, I was initially hesitant to purchase Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles because of the bad taste left in my mouth from the Storm series. Pause. Just for a recap, let's rewind the clock back to Storm 4. The season pass they released was absolutely trash. The few villains that you got were barely even worth it. What is it, the Sound 4, basically, and like one or two other people, I can't even remember, it was so bad. And then they had the audacity to drop that Boruto DLC like 4 years later and charge full price for it. I'm not feeling that. I don't care if the season was over. Like, no, dog, they didn't do that shit right at all. So Cyber Connect 2 and me, we got a little bit of beef. I don't really fuck with them like that, you know what I'm saying? Even with the Akatsuki Ultimates, which were pretty cool, they were unique, no, it wasn't working, right? So because of that, I sold my copy of Storm 4 a long time ago, and I haven't really looked back or touched the game since. Fast forward back to the first opening scene of this Demon Slayer game, and I have to say, at least as far as the story goes, everything is animated flawlessly, which is probably due to Aniplex's involvement, right? The 3D models, as a friend told me, and that I can agree with, doesn't look 3D, you know, it looks 2D despite the presentation, which I think is very good. Maybe that's some type of cell shading, or, you know, I'm not really sure how they did it, but they did it and it works. And a lot of the scenes, it looks like the characters were stripped directly from the anime.
決着をつけるぞ、炭治郎。来るな。ならば全集中。水の呼吸、火の型、打ちしよう。相打ち。いや、違う。炭治郎の方が。見えた、月の糸。早い。
Now, when playing the story mode, it follows a timeline similar to the Storm series, where you start at one point and then you go through it, and afterwards you can go back and rewatch it, or, you know, get more collectibles, get a higher grade, all of that, which goes into a reward system that I'll talk about a little bit later. Each chapter begins usually with the cutscene of the original anime, something that is core to the story. Then there are small exploration sections with a small degree of open world movement, but they're small zones and there's only so much you can collect, but it adds a bit of flavor to the what would otherwise just be cutscenes and fighting, right?
ありがとうな。
え？お？ん？ よし。
It's all pretty bare bones, but it does serve a purpose in the gameplay loop. I will say that the NPCs walking around the environments overall look nice. You know, it's something worth looking at, even though it's very simple and there's not much to look at. In most cases, you are either watching a cutscene, doing a story battle, or watching one of many memory fragments. These are what you call the lazy cutscenes, or as what I'll call them. They consist of long, basic, drawn-out, still images with a filter of the Japanese door for some reason. I don't really understand that part, but it does its job to fill in details if someone hasn't seen the show, or if you want to get the extra points to unlock stuff in the rewards. Otherwise, it's more or less a waste of time if you've already seen it. It's recapping something you've probably already seen twice. And it goes without saying, if you want to get the show in its full context, go watch the anime. The game is just there to be a form of media. I'll cut this stuff short just by saying that the video game adaptation is great. If you haven't seen it yet, it's somewhat annoying that you have to play through the story to unlock all the characters, and there's not many right now. But at the very least, it gives some goals to work toward for an alternate ending. There's a fighting game, Soul Calibur, recently that I didn't like, that there was no reason to do the story. You only unlock Nightmare, and you couldn't even, not Nightmare, whatever the main villain was, I don't even remember, but there was no incentive to play the story mode, so at least they forced you to do it here. I mean, it's a bit annoying, but I understand it. It gives you some goal to work towards, like alternate costumes and other rewards. They cover about 8 chapters, finalizing at the Mugen Train arc. The story is fun, a bit easy, and a bit repetitive if you've already watched the anime. As for the boss fights, most of them consist of demons taking damage and then going into a super armored state. When this happens, it's your turn to dodge and avoid damage. There is enough with the demons to make things different with each encounter outside of the NPC more non-real character demons, but each battle kind of artificially is propped up as a boss battle just because of the super armor, which gets pretty old. That's something Xenoverse and Dragon Ball Kakarot and a lot of these anime games do, and it can get old. It's like, oh, I'm doing a combo, oh, super armor, now I gotta dodge. Like, I get it, but come on, bro. There could have been something else you could have tried. That's like the easy way out. It's just a cheap way to make the enemy seem stronger than you or more resilient, Now, before I expand upon the gameplay a bit more, I also want to point out that the voice acting in this game is phenomenal. I didn't try it on English outside of when you start the game up and Tanjiro yells at you in English, and I was just, I'm a sub guy, I like my subs, so I had to turn it on there. And the sub sounds just as good as it sounds normally, so no complaints there. It's mixed well. There's heftiness in the sound. You feel the tone. You feel everything that's going on when you're you're watching it, and it immerses you in that anime world. So I can give them props for that.
手こずった早く太陽から距離を逃げるな卑怯者逃げるな何を言ってるんだあのガキは脳みそが頭に詰まってないのか俺はお前らから逃げてるんじゃない太陽から逃げてるんだそれにもう勝負はついているだろうがあいつは間もなく力尽きて死ぬいつだって鬼殺隊はお前らに有利な夜の闇の中で戦っているんだ生身の人間なら傷だって簡単には塞がらない失った手足が戻ることもない逃げるなバカ野郎バカ野郎卑怯者お前なんかより煉獄さんの方がずっとすごいんだ強いんだ煉獄さんは負けてない誰も知らせなかった戦い抜いた守り抜いたお前の負けだ煉獄さんの勝ちだもうそんなに叫ぶんじゃない君も軽傷じゃないんだかまど少年が死んでしまったら俺の負けになってしまうぞこっちにおいで最後に少し話をしよう
Scenes are animated nicely alongside it and with great lighting, great visuals, great shading, great coloring, everything you can put into these anime cel shaded character models, they do it and it's fine that way. I wouldn't have them change anything else about it. Even with the lower tier scenes and the upper tier scenes, you don't really complain too much. Even when it's just two characters standing there talking, it's, you know, it works for what it's doing. If you read the dialogue or listening or trying to understand what's going on, you won't really be like, oh, this shit is ugly. I can tell they're being lazy right here. You'll just go along with it and enjoy it. Now, I do want to touch on this beyond the story, of course. The gameplay is a different conversation, somewhat. It feels fairly solid. Like all anime games, though, there are that element of cheese or unresponsiveness or randomness that can occur with a clash or something happening where you don't know who's going to get the hit first or you don't know what attack's going to go through first and you're trying to figure that out. So having a few games with a friend the other day, like, I don't hate it, you know. These 3D anime brawlers have issues at times with drop combos and the like. Weird instances where someone does an attack that hits in some weird way. But this game is far different than that of Storm in the sense that it seems like they learned a little bit from the things that they did in Storm. Because of how many characters, combos, and opes are presented and how there's different setups for different ones, it gives a bit more differentiation to the gameplay than Naruto Storm did. And Naruto Storm combos were alive. Like if you had Naruto and his clones, you know, you got 5 clones flying in the air and the hitboxes are crazy. Some of that stuff was, you know, it worked for Naruto, but Demon Slayer kind of files that down into a more cohesive package, I think. The parry system is unique and offers a different style of play than in the Storm games, which I've been enjoying online. The combat loop is more or less combo strings, guard, breaking the guard, and ults. You will spend most fights dashing and combining an attempt to get through the opponent's guard, and that's more or less what it comes down to, which is most games, I would say. But I think it works in the core loop of battle. Fighters have the potential to escape combos using L1, which takes away both of your assists, so you will need to be strategic when you escape combos to prevent from being dashed into and trapped once more. There are a mix of combo attacks, special attacks, or special skills I'll say, and armored attacks that mix up the gameplay enough to create a type of rock, paper, scissors system similar to My Hero. In my eyes, this mixes up the gameplay enough to be unique and expands on the general Storm formula that CyberConnect 2 is known for. Unlike Storm, there are a handful of things you can't do, such as jump block, just to name one. I'll expand on the online matches in a different video later because I want to focus on that when I'm talking about it. So how does Demon Slayer stack up? I'd say Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles is it's alright. I know that isn't saying much. I'm a bit biased against CC2 now because of their past transgressions against their fan base, but I will say this game feels thoroughly polished from the previous Storm titles. In a way, they learned from some of their previous mistakes and created something that feels consistent, at least consistent as an anime 3D arena brawler can be. And since demons are soon coming as free DLC, then this game may be a step above CC2's previous works. And that much I can get jiggy with. And this has been Cloud Coast Gaming, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.
I spit this cipher hieroglyphics showing black body physics. If you wanna know your purpose, you might have to learn your digits. Yeah, I'm known for the love, but I speak the true vicious. Steady jumping through the bands like my frequency exquisite. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm at. Okay, this is where I'm at. Don't play. This is where I'm at. Okay, this is where I'm at. Don't hate. This is where I'm at. Okay, this is where I'm at. They told us we ain't had no past. Okay, this is where we at. So content with getting to a bag. But while we feel like life is trash, and this is potent from the grass, the most potent in my class. You niggas steady stuck on cracks. Okay, this is where we at.